During the brutal winters of World War II, when snow buried entire forests and the air froze in men's lungs, soldiers faced an invisible enemy, the cold. On the Eastern Front, temperatures plunged below -30 degrees Celsius. Fingers froze to metal rifles. Rations turned solid as stone. But one simple act, lighting a fire to melt snow or heat food, could give away a soldier's position to enemy planes or artillery within seconds. So the question was deadly and simple. How could soldiers eat or survive without ever lighting a visible flame? Across the frozen Russian steppe, in the Ardennes forests, and deep in the mountains of Norway, soldiers learned that wood was useless. It was wet, buried, or forbidden. They needed something compact, smokeless, and quiet. And out of that need came one of the smallest but most ingenious tools of the entire war. A pocket-sized stove that could fit in a soldier's coat, weigh less than a can of food, and still bring water to a boil in minutes. It didn't burn wood. It didn't need gasoline. And it didn't smoke. This was the Esbit stove, the forgotten lifeline of cold weather warfare. The story begins in pre-war Germany, in the 1930s. A company called Esbit, short for Erich Schum Brennstoff in tabletten form, which means Erich Schum S fuel in tablet form, developed a new kind of solid fuel. Instead of relying on liquid fuels like alcohol or kerosene, they pressed a chemical compound called hexamine into small, waterproof tablets. When ignited, these tablets burned hot, steady, and nearly invisible, with no smoke, no residue, and no smell. By 1936, Esbit had designed a folding metal stove to match, simple steel wings that unfolded to hold a cup or a tin over a burning tablet. It was so light and reliable that the German military immediately adopted it for soldiers, pilots, and mountain troops. The beauty of the Esbit stove lay in its brutal simplicity. It had no moving parts, no pumps, and required no maintenance. The entire kit, the stove plus 6 fuel tablets, fit into a pocket-sized tin. Soldiers could carry it anywhere, unfold it in seconds, light a single tablet, and melt snow into boiling water, even at 10,000 feet or in a blizzard. One tablet burned for about 15 minutes, long enough to heat a full ration or boil half a liter of water. 2 tablets could warm a full meal. In a world where every gram of weight mattered, that tiny stove was as valuable as a rifle. The secret was in the fuel itself. Hexamine. Chemically, it S formed by combining formaldehyde and ammonia, a compound that burns at around 700 degrees Celsius with a nearly invisible blue flame. Unlike wood or liquid fuels, hexamine doesn't need a lot of oxygen to burn. That meant it could work even in the thin air of high mountain passes or inside snow shelters. It produced no smoke, no soot, and barely any light. The perfect stealth heat source. And because the tablets were hydrophobic, they couldn't absorb moisture. Even if a soldier dropped them in snow, they'd still ignite instantly. This chemical miracle turned cold, starving soldiers into survivors. Picture a German infantryman on the Eastern Front in 1943. His squad has dug a shallow trench in frozen mud. Snow piles high on the edges. The wind howls. There's no wood for miles, only snow and steel. He pulls a small metal box from his jacket, unfolds it into a triangle, places a fuel tablet inside, and shields it with his hands. Within seconds, the faintest blue glow appears. He sets his tin cup on top. In a few minutes, the snow inside melts, bubbles, and boils. He adds coffee powder and a spoonful of condensed milk. That single hot drink, made in silence, unseen by the enemy, might be the difference between frostbite and fighting another day. This was the invisible comfort of war. The Esbit stove wasn't just a German secret for long. Allied soldiers, British, Canadian, and American, discovered them after capturing German positions or trading with prisoners. They quickly realized nothing in their own gear matched its efficiency. Soon, even elite Allied units like the British SAS and American mountain troops began carrying similar pocket stoves, sometimes copied or repurposed from captured gear. In the freezing nights of the Ardennes, in the mountains of Norway, and behind enemy lines, these tiny contraptions quietly sustained entire patrols. They required no resupply lines, no heavy fuel drums, and no smoke signals for snipers to see. It was the kind of small innovation that made a massive difference in human endurance. Soldiers quickly learned to get creative. To protect the flame from wind, they'd dig a small hole in the snow or use a helmet as a windbreak. Some built makeshift reflectors from foil or tin scraps to focus heat under the cup. In deep snow, they'd build a little pit, place the stove inside, and cover it loosely, creating a natural insulated oven. These small tricks could double cooking efficiency, saving precious tablets. And because the stoves worked even inside tents or snow walls, troops could stay concealed while heating food, a luxury no open fire could offer. To many, that quiet blue flame was the most comforting sight in the world. After the war, the Esbit stove faded into the background of history, overshadowed by tanks, aircraft, and atomic weapons. But survivalists and mountaineers never forgot it. The same design, nearly unchanged, is still sold today under the Esbit and Koglin S brands. Modern campers use it for ultralight cooking. Militaries still include solid fuel stoves in emergency kits and lifeboat packs. Why? Because when all else fails, when gas canisters leak, matches get wet, or batteries die, a simple metal stand and a solid fuel tablet still work. The soldiers of World War II proved a timeless truth. Survival depends not on fancy gear, but on reliability and simplicity. Even in today's world of high-tech stoves and rechargeable burners, preppers and outdoor experts still keep a small Esbit in their kit. It weighs almost nothing, lasts forever, and can boil water when nothing else can. In disaster zones, power outages, or expeditions, this 90-year-old invention remains a quiet hero. It's a reminder that true resilience comes from design born out of necessity. The soldiers who carried these stoves weren't just fighting, they were adapting, improvising, and surviving through intelligence, not just strength. The story of the WWII pocket stove isn't about fire or food. It's about ingenuity in the face of impossibility. A few grams of metal and a handful of fuel tablets helped men endure one of the coldest wars in history. Because sometimes survival doesn't come from what big or powerful, but from what small, reliable, and always ready. If you enjoyed this deep dive into forgotten wartime innovation, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories where history's smallest tools reveal the biggest lessons in survival. Thanks for watching.